Hello, everybody. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking to Shadow, and I don't know, it feels like allergy season again. My ears have been itchy, my nose has been itchy, and we were just talking about some stuff that we've seen, like as observers of magic on the internet. That's stuff that we wish we had never seen. That's what I said. We really need to have the cameras on when we are having these conversations because, like somebody will go and read an old school recipe that calls for, what did you say? Bathing in ammonia and bleach.
In their spiritual bath.
In their spiritual bath. And, that maybe had happened, but I'm thinking that's one of those high-end tricks. I think that they told him that shit so many times because it's deadly. Preston, one of my spiritual brothers, he keeps posting different parts of history where slaves had poisoned their slave masters. Okay? So when you stop to think about some of the shit that they tell you to do, magic is science. Magic works hand in hand with science. Alchemy, that's magic. That's that next level stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, Christian Days messaged me talking about ammonia and bleach. Jesus Christ. I'm telling you, there's some shit out there. And let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna need you to share these videos with every newbie that you know. Okay? Everything natural ain't good for you. In fact, shit. Is arsenic something they make in the lab, or isn't that something that they find?
I think that's natural.
Yeah. What will arsenic do to you?
It'll kill you.
Quickly. I mean, really, y'all need to start talking to these youngins. Then you got people that feel like they're cursed. So instead of talking to somebody that say, hey, removes hexes and curses, no, we're just going to start buying all kinds of shit. And we're going to abracadabra and we're going to pull some shit out of a rabbit's hat and everything's going to be okay. What's going to happen is you're going to have a whole bunch of magical shit that you don't know anything to do with. I had a client who got a fixed candle from me. Let me tell you all the proper way to use a fixed candle. Okay, my phone may die. I got like 20%. So I'm going to tell you this. If you get a fixed candle in the mail, boo-boo, that means that the herbs and the roots, and I'm working on this, but I can't get it to work. Maybe one of these days. I got an idea. I just realized what I could do it with, but it's not traditional. But anyways. And what I could do to be able to get the herbs to just really, really, really become part of the candle. I just figured it out. But anyways, I ain't going to show it to y'all till I do it because people they copy things. But when you get a fixed candle from me, it is set old school. It was taught how many holes to put in the candle, what they represent. Those are things that have been passed down to me that I don't share with people because that's my particular way I'll fix my candles. What I do, my method, but always there's gonna be some herbs around the top. And herbs you can see, not so few herbs you can't count them, and therein lies the problem because in shipping, they'll go everywhere. Whereas when I do them, maybe there's a way to do a trench. Maybe that messes up my holes though. To figure that out too. What happens is, the herbs and roots are going to shift. So if you ever buy a fixed candle from anywhere and you put it in a bag or you get it shipped to you, the two things you want to do. You want to make sure that those herbs and those roots are kind of pushed out towards the outer edges where the wick is not. And you want to make sure that wick is cut down at least into the level of the glass. What I've noticed, and have you noticed this, Shadow, that there are a lot of times where you'll get a fixed candle and the wick be way taller than the glass. Yeah. Don't like that.
Right, exactly. Always.
I ain't no Christian, but folks make me call on Jesus way too often. You understand me? I be calling on him. But I'm not even a Christian because of some of the dumb stuff they do. You cut the wick down. Because if you've ever lit one of those full wicks, that thing is like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna burn the house down. And then it just goes down real quick. But you really, for that moment, think you're going to burn the house down. And if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time around the wrong material, say you're standing up under an altar that's hanging on the wall, and the cloth that just happens to be hanging off, you set your whole damn house on fire. So there's just some common sense things. If you have never practiced magic, it's cool. It's cool. There was a time where I'd never practiced magic. There's a time when I was a virgin too. I mean, shit, it's over. Okay? But there is always, you always get the first time. Or the first time you learn about something like, oh man, I can put the old root on the man and make him stay just against his will. Oh, cool. First thing that runs through most people's minds. Until you really learn, what the value of magic is. And I think that's the thing. It's like, you hear the rumors. And so, I mean, to deny those rumors would be to say that this stuff doesn't work, and it does. But that type of stuff is temporary. It's not to say it doesn't work. It ain't gonna work long. And some folks have like that super shield. Either their parents put it on them, they might have been born with a call, who knows? But some of them folks you cannot penetrate. Not with that type of magic, not with hoodoo. You have to go talk to some spirits, some serious spirits, if you really want that type of thing. And people don't get that. Even though that's one of the things that people who are in ATRs willingly will tell you, is that this is a completely different type of thing than what you've probably ever done. And usually you forget everything somebody's told you about it too. And that's the thing. It's like, I'll ask people, well, did you read, where did you find out that you needed this, that, and the other for this spell? Because people will also message me and ask me these types of questions. And I'll be like, so how did you come up with that? Because I'm not a person that's going to say, don't use the internet. No, that's not what I'm going to say. Okay. What I'm going to say is, the way I was taught anyway, was that you use a variety of sources. I mean, like my kids' teachers at school don't make you got to use some books, you got to use some internet, you got to get used to looking in several different places. Even then, you still might not get the truth, but you'll get a more consistent story. But people, what they'll do is, I had students, I told the story at dinner tonight, because my daughter's boyfriend got an F on an essay because he forgot one parenthetical citation. One. It had to be a fairly sizable paragraph, but a teacher can get you on one sentence. Failure. I was an English professor for 20 years. Okay? Usually, life is not that hard. Usually it's not just the once and done and you've got an F. And what happens is a lot of people make some really bad decisions. I was one of them. I've got a whole, I reek of bad decisions and regret sometimes. I mean, but at least I got something to regret. I did something. I wanted to make things happen for me. I made it happen. I knew manifestation before it was a thing. Call it positive thinking, law of attraction, the secret, whatever you will. I knew that if I put myself in the right mental condition, I stood a very, very, very significant chance of making that thing happen. And so, a lot of people don't have any idea about it. Like, they've always felt strange. They never had people that understood them. They often told the truth, too much truth. Kids get psychic visions and they start telling all the business in front of the grown people type of stuff. Yeah, that was me. But they want to just jump right in. And what I tell people is to really take the time to find out exactly what you need to fit your situation, and that's going to take more than page 1 of Google. And it might actually mean that you read a few books. And literally, like this conversation that I had with someone literally probably saved them hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars of trying to go about the problem in not the best way, and kept them probably from some predatory readers, workers, whatever. Because if the person knows enough but doesn't know enough to know that you should have a divination before you just start jumping off into spell work, and you don't know that, people take advantage of that. I mean, we would, Shadow and I would just wonder. I just wonder how kids make it to adulthood these days. I mean, back in the day, you could get ate by a wolf or die of typhoid. Lots of babies died. And they got a lot of those, really creepy, postmortem pictures. They're mostly of babies and young children because how you get your picture taken every 10 years with your family because that's what photography was back then. But, that's why they have all those pictures because those babies died right away. I have a whole two of my aunts and one of my aunt's daughters. That was really weird. But two aunts were born and they had they learned how to talk, and then they had scarlet fever, and then they became deaf. But my other aunt, she married a deaf man, and then her daughter was deaf. So I don't think it was due to the scarlet fever. I think it was due to the fact that he probably had hereditary hearing loss. But science is an amazing thing. And people have had, in order to stay alive, somebody else asked me that today. The person I was talking to about, spell work. Are people doing things about the condition of black people today? What do you think should be done? I said, honey, if it hadn't been done and it hadn't been being done all these years, we wouldn't be alive. Because I don't know a single group of people where there has been such a concentrated effort to either eradicate us from the country or planet, but take all of our resources and our efforts. I've never seen anything like that. Have you? I had I try to be friends with everybody. I had some neighbors over here, a lovely lesbian couple. And first of all, she didn't believe me when I said I was bi. I know she didn't believe me. And then, they went straight with the white woman privilege, and I'll just spare you of that in this video, but it was just ridiculous. And, it's like, I don't know, I think we really, really don't understand the power of what we were able to do. Even if you had a grandmother in the church and she was a praying grandmother, if you know anything about old black women in the church, they could hum a song. You knew exactly what she was feeling or emitting, and she had to say a word. That's magic. And in the dances of our ancestors, when you actually get to see things that never died, there's no reconstruction, there's no neo-paganism to an African religion, that when you're looking at those people doing it, it's the way they've done it for thousands of years. Especially because there's no internet there to tell them how to do it differently on page 1 of Google. So the thing is if you know somebody who is a beginning practitioner, everybody's going to have questions. I don't know why people are scared to ask questions. But I was that kid that made everybody mad. I'd sit up in the front of the room, be obnoxious, but excuse me. But, because I want to know more, because really what you're telling me, either, especially in the American education system, either sounded really basic, and I knew there was some more shit to it, or it sounded just entirely ridiculously untrue. And most of the time, considering I went to kindergarten 43 years ago, most of the shit they told us just simply wasn't true. The fact that they could talk to you all about ancient Egypt and never mention Africa. Literally, I didn't take a geography class when I was in college. And my parents and my grandparents, their experience was Black Americans. They didn't really have a lot of the African stuff because that type of stuff, my grandfather's mother abandoned him. And hell, I don't even know if my grandmother's people were slaves. So, it's very important when people have somebody that can talk to them and tell them about these types of things. And, like it or not, we really don't know. It's a matter of faith. You don't know for sure what you're doing in your tradition is right or true. But if this is what you've been taught and you've honored your godparents and they honor their godparents and they honor their godparents, chances are you all right, you know? And I don't understand why people don't like tradition. My thing is, if you don't like rules, there is magic for you, right? But there's even rules in chaos magic, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, you just think that's like, yeah, do whatever. But there are people that can do that too. Now, let's talk about that. We were talking about tools. And we were talking about, like, if you go and get an oil that's synthetic, and synthetic only means nature's chemicals and herbs and roots turned into something other than what it is. Or if you want to use something natural, does it have an impact on your magic? Well, if you believe that the root has a spirit, then yeah, it does. But also, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And, sometimes they call that magic, spirit, ashe. People call it different things. It's the way you get shit done. So, but there's got to be like a happy medium for this. It can't just keep being just balls to the wall. I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to go buy this stuff and summon down the spirit of Ebenezer Scrooge and shit. To this very rigid, you can't improvise because we are the king of all magical knowledge type of bullshit. There's gotta be just a little bit of an in-between, enough that allows for human innovation, passion, your own personal spirit, but you're not doing dumb shit. I mean, this does not take a PhD, and one of the reasons why it doesn't take a PhD is because it is not that type of gift. There are people who can't even read that have this gift. But, in this day and age, if you don't know something, that's a good way to kind of like start to find out. And then talking to experienced people, because I have to ask people when they come to me and they're new, I'm like, well, how did you find out about magic? Just per se. And most of them, the ones who are the most solid, remember somebody in their family doing it. Those are the ones who usually are the ones that are committed to keeping traditions. And I'm a human being. I like traditions. If people say they don't, I don't understand those people. Those are like the people who don't like animals or don't love babies. Kids, I can understand how some folks have some issues with kids, but babies? Come on. There's something wrong with you. That's just, there's some things I just think that when you, and I can't understand, now I don't like killing things, and I'm probably in the way wrong line of work. But, you have to do certain things that are required for your religion. You find out those when you initiate. But, there's basics. There's just, you type in ancestor altar, but, a lot of people don't even know about that. So don't assume, especially in these groups, y'all. I'm tired of y'all giving them all these super duper complicated things to do with the 6 and 7 seals of Moses and shit. Just because you are magically flossing. Okay? That's it. It's magical floss. It's like, look, get you a white cloth and a candle and some water. If you want to be fancy, get you a Rose of Jericho. They're like $4.50 on the website. And get your pictures of your loved ones and get what they love and start talking to them. But all this other stuff, I'm like, do you even know what tradition that's from? Often people don't. And it's okay. It's all right. It's okay not to know something. What I have found is 2 things about human beings. We love drama. We watch it on television. We watch dramas on television. We go to movies. There's some people that say, oh, I don't do any of this, but I go to opera. Some of the most tragic dramas I've ever seen were at the opera. So just because you don't watch TV don't mean you don't love drama. So now I have had this epiphany tonight and realized why people love Love and Hip Hop and Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because I would sit there and watch it and be like, what is this? But everybody loves some type of drama. I don't know why. And people people like consistency and people like structure. Children flourish best with structure. Always. And it doesn't have to be mean, evil types of structures like Joan Crawford tying her kid to bed at night. No. But structure of when you're going to get up, when you're going to go to bed, when you're going to brush your teeth, and it's not about indoctrinating somebody. It's teaching somebody to have their own personal schedule. But times of days where they have accountability, and as you grow up, like my bed making part of my schedule completely wiped out. The one that my father tried to give to me. Nope. That whole block, that whole 10, 15 minutes, because I got a big ass bed, I'm going to spend it in bed. We're not making the bed. That's just not on the list anymore. But I still remember that my father taught me how to do it. I still remember the time and the slot that I had to make my bed. And so, people do like to know rules. People do like consistency. Yes, people also love spontaneity. It just depends on what it is. But you really can't be spontaneous with your magic if you don't know what the hell you're doing. How you gonna be spontaneous with nothing? You can't. But I don't like going in these groups a lot either, because I'll just point blank say what it is, and you'll get people in there trying to offer up bullshit or flaws. And I'm petty, I'll say it, but I won't say it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's completely unnecessary, especially in a situation where somebody's learning. But I don't know. It's a hard balance between letting people just, kind of learn and be who they are, and then reading something and being like, no, come on now. And so it does have a very, what one of the most devastating effects of this is that somebody will actually stop practicing magic because they didn't know what they were doing, and they either had bad results or they didn't have any results at all. That's the worst thing to me. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's situations where people have had, I'm talking about the most common. I'm sure there's situations where people have been possessed and a lot of other things from messing with stuff they shouldn't. But typically, the largest scale tragedy about people not knowing what they're doing is that it doesn't work for them and they give up. So whether you are a fellow practitioner or if you own an occult store, it is really imperative that we help people learn how to get the full effect from this stuff. Because when they get the full effect from it, they come back. That's how it works. So you got to set it up so it works in the first place. Anyways, that's what we was talking about. What else was we talking about before the phone dies?
I think that's pretty much it in these spiritual douches.
Products that hurt my soul. And you don't like, I want to talk about nobody else's product, because look, there may be a time I'm always trying to look at my stuff, making sure it smells the way it's supposed to smell, works with the way it was supposed to work spiritually. Because there's some stuff, like I'm redoing Feeling Good. I don't like the way it smells. Yes, I know it's got all this healing stuff in it, but damn it, if I'm sick, at least let it smell like medicine. It's just something about it, but it's because of that ginger root. Ginger root's nasty, it's funky, but it's necessary. God, I hate ginger root. Valerian if you use too much of it,
Yeah.
but it's necessary. So it's really hard sometimes, because not everything and not everything should smell great. Your Goofer Dust shouldn't smell like roses. It should smell like hell. That really should smell like hell, and everything else like in that genre. It shouldn't smell like anything pleasant I want to lay down and roll around in. It shouldn't. That's a really great thing you can do with magic. Follow your nose. Your nose can tell you what something does. If you sniff cinnamon, anise, nutmeg, cloves, they've all got that. Sorry, that was my alarm. But you know what I'm saying? Cinnamon, cloves, anise, all of those spices have something to them, and that's that spirit. And then it's just how that spirit acts. But you can smell it. So when you get that point, because that's where I'm really working at now. That's why I didn't put labels on the front of some of these jars. Because that's some shit I need to be like, just, you ain't got to have your eyes open. I need this. Okay, thank you. That's where you want to get with magic. So, in any case, Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like anytime, I guess, maybe. It smells like booty. But you know how somebody walk in the room and they first smell like booty? And you go, oh. And then it's like, okay, yeah, they kind of smell like booty, but I ain't gonna say nothing. That's Valerian for you. You'd be like, yeah, you still stink, but it ain't so bad no more. That's Valerian. Okay, I'm gonna get off of this because my battery might die. Bye, y'all.